guys. So it's no secret that I don't really buy games or play many myself, but there's been a lot of complaining around the fact that this first half of the year just hasn't been good. And I brought along two of the most complainingest people that I've ever met. Here they go again, right now, complaining all over the place. So, Rob, Paddy, I have no idea what's going on. Just why is this first half of the year so bad? And is it something that just generally happens towards the end of a generation? Or am I just hearing things wrong?
You don't buy new games, do you, Al?
Not new ones, no. I buy them.
No, you don't really buy the old ones either, do you, Al?
Not really. I've got like 3 games. And
what
half
do you
of them, they're all games with Golden Games Pass.
You're right, man. It's like the first half of this year has been... I normally buy... I don't buy every single new game, but I normally sort of, buy a few games, maybe buy like one a month or one every 2 months, and sort of... I've literally this
That's
year
like
not
6
bought...
games a year.
I think I tell a lie. I have bought one game this year, which I bought World War Z when that came out, and I played it for a weekend, and I was bored. But that's the only new game I've bought this whole year so far, and it's just like I think back over the years, and I think, is that always been the case, or has it just been this year? Like, have you bought anything this year so far yet, Paddy?
No, I was given a copy of Resident Evil 2, but I haven't played it.
Did you play the original?
No. No, and it's sort of it's sitting at the top, isn't it, of like everyone's favorite game this year, and it's a remake of a game that came out a long time ago.
At least in 1972.
It was 19 off.
At least.
Long ago.
So why don't we start from the beginning?
Yes.
The beginning?
Like
the beginning of what?
Place to start.
Of time, or the generation. So like, what, 2014, I think it was?
Are we going through year by year, are we?
Yeah, I think if you go through year by year and just sort of see how it compares, and then you can tell me why this year's been so shit.
You are very wise, Mr. Alistair.
That's why I'm doing this. I'm not here for my games.
Just here to keep things in order.
Basically. So, like, what were the best and kind of most disappointing of 2014 in your eyes that you bought and played?
First half of the year 2014.
Yeah.
To be fair, like, we got to give 2014 a bit of slack because it is the start of the generation. I don't know about you guys, but I think each generation needs about a year to get started. Like, there's a few decent games, but you look at the first half year. I mean, first year of the generation, there's no real huge hitters out there. Like, I think Dark Souls 2 come around out then. I'm not a massive on the Blood-Borne things, but and I don't know how popular Dark Souls was at the time, but I know that come out. Rayman Legends, which is actually one of the best platformers I've played in a long time.
I mean, I've
that
played
come out.
But
yeah, it's a beautiful game.
I can't really talk about it because I bought it like last year. Yeah.
No, but you can talk about it because you played it. It is still like a really good game.
Yeah, I think it's up there. It's definitely one of the best platformers I've played.
Yeah, I think I could easily say, hand on my heart, it's probably the best platformer I've played, or at very least, one that I've enjoyed the most, and that stands up to things like Mario World on my shoulders. I know. And then Fez finally come out that year. Fez had been announced in 2007. Fez is a sort of hack, yeah, but Fez is it was an indie game where you could switch around the perspective and stuff. It was a little dude who was wearing a fez, and he was living in a 2D world, and then he found out that everything was 3D and you could flip the world. So it was kind of like this little platform where you could flip things around and stuff. It was really cool, and it was shown off of in 2007, and then no one heard from it for a long time, and there was one guy who made it, but it finally come out. It was good. And I think the only other game that I'm aware of, Mario Kart 8. I bought that game. Yeah, it's good. Alex Mario Kart.
Yeah, I mean, they're always going to do well. No one's going to not like a Mario Kart game.
I suppose the only stinker I can really think of is probably the original Watch Dogs. Come out first half of 2014 as well.
Paddy, I know you're a fan of those type of things. Did Watch Dogs live up to your hype?
Watch Dogs wasn't bad, but it definitely wasn't what I think we were expecting it to be.
It was from the E3 the year prior, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It had that massive hype. It had that awesome trailer. Everyone thought it was going to be what this generation could do, but it really wasn't that. But it wasn't bad at all. But it definitely didn't set the world on fire. It wasn't okay, this is what next gen is all about. I think the second half of the year, I think, probably had some of that.
Yes. I would give 2014 free loots out of 5.
Jesus,
Bring back the loot.
That is a
Bring
cool
back
bracket and
the
a
loots.
half.
Bring back
died.
the loot.
That died
I'm
so
bringing
quickly.
back 3 loots out of 5.
So,
How about you, Paddy?
Oh yeah, Paddy.
No, go for it.
I was going to say your synopsis of the whole year is there was enough to play, but it was kind of an all right year. There was enough to keep you going for the first half at least.
Yeah,
Paddy?
I bought 3 things at least.
Yeah. Do you think that's fair, Paddy?
Yeah, I mean, I personally didn't buy any of those, but like looking at that list of games, like Dark Souls, I think the tipping point. I think when we get to Blood-Borne next year, like that is when the Soulsborne games really, really turn into something massive. Shovel Knight was kind of almost the birth of this brand new sort of way of playing. You know what I mean? Like Shovel Knight's sort of been born again so many times over the generations, and I mean I never played Rayman, but you guys say it's really good, so I'll believe you on that one. But I think
should play it.
Yeah, whenever you're starting off a generation, like you're always gonna expect a few bubbles, but what you also expect is that it gets stronger and stronger and stronger as you go on. So
And
probably why this year is so egregious.
Talking of stronger and stronger, I think 2015, from our list, it's one of the shortest in terms of games, but probably the highest quality. And
one of the very highest.
I think I need to calm down Rob on this one.
It's got The Witcher 3 in it, guys.
Yeah.
You know, you can't. If any first half of the year's got The Witcher 3, it's probably one of the best years. That's just how it is, and that's where I stand. I don't care how biased I am. That's just who I am.
Yeah, but I mean, what The Witcher does is it comes in and says to, you know, Bethesda and everyone else who's made an open world game like that, like this is actually what they should be like. You have no. There's no.
We can do a side story.
Yeah, I mean, there's no excuse
to
not have a buggy and broken and because we used to just kind of give games a pass, but then The Witcher comes along and it's like, no, there's no excuse.
It's like, this is made in Poland.
Work your people into the ground.
Really?
Never let them have any time off, and look what they can create. It's magical. Yeah. And then also we had Blood-Borne that year as well, and Blood-Borne was amazing. Like that was definitely the start of the. That's when the Soulsborne games went from something that was sort of niche to everyone was talking
mainstream.
about it. It became its own sort of thing.
Look how hard this is. Look how cool I am because I beat this hard thing. It's not all about.
It birthed a whole new breed of douchebags.
I like posturing.
But
it did.
But it is a really, really good game. So
I think the thing we can talk about a lack of quantity is that by the fact you've got The Witcher 3 there, it's going to take you at least 5 months on the first playthrough anyway. So
obviously, The Witcher 3 is a massive, massive game with millions of endless hours of content apparently, and Blood-Borne.
So you hear?
So I hear.
So they say.
And Blood-Borne is like a typical Soulsborne game. Is one of those where it may not necessarily be the longest game, but you're going to spend
20 to 30 hours.
Yeah, you're going to spend tens of hours because you're just not going to get through it in the first go.
You'll get moided.
You're going to get moided.
You're going to get moided.
You're going to get moided.
So
I mean, 2015 had its issues too as well. I mean,
there wasn't all
like Evolve was meant to be this kind of,
Evolve, yeah.
It's meant to be this whole new sort of way
didn't
of.
work out, did it?
Yeah, I know.
I
was genuinely interested.
They
in
took
that
a formula and applied it to like a Dead by Daylight, because that kind of had a really similar idea, obviously on a different sort of scale. You know that you have one thing.
Kind of. I think Dead by Daylight added an extra element of there is something else to do instead of just hunt the monster with your different shooty classes and shoot it until it is no more.
I think the main issue they had about Evolve though was about the monetization of it, wasn't it? Or didn't they just apparently just come out with hardly any content and they put everything behind DLCs and stuff, and everyone got really annoyed about it.
So that was the real start of that show.
You could know. I mean, that started a few years before that, but like in terms of like Evolve, like I think from what I remember, you could get one like monster. You could only play with like the default monster, but if you wanted to play as any of the others, like you had to pay, and everyone was like, I would pay for the game.
It was like what one map, like 5 operators,
maybe
a handful of monsters. I remember
it was bare. It was bare fun.
I'm
It's
gonna
not a
plug,
bear.
I'm actually gonna plug one of my list videos because I think we broke it down in the Greediest Bastards.
It
list
is
that
a
we
greedy
did.
bastard.
And
Evolve
we actually,
was a greedy
we
bastard,
actually
and that's why I
broke
did
down
that.
the pricing structure. And I remember when we researched it, it was so complicated.
Yeah.
YouTube.com/.
And like, I don't know if you mentioned, but the Order 1886, the PS4 exclusive, that did actually look really cool and stuff. And I think most of the people didn't necessarily hate the game, but I think most people whinged that it was just extremely short for a game that you paid full price for, and everyone felt quite aggrieved by it. I think that's the only thing I remember about the Order 1886. We don't need
The interactive movie, bit short, not that much to do.
linear gameplay.
Linear.
But yeah, 2015, I'm going to give on the basis of The Witcher 3, I'm going to give it 4 loots out of 5.
Oh. Paddy, because we're doing rating
We're doing
systems,
they're doing the loot scale. Well, I'm gonna have to echo Rob because those were some good games.
So 2015. Carry on.
Just whilst we got here, what was your score for 2014? Just whilst we're on it, so I can put it all on the screen.
I don't know.
It all makes sense.
Two loots.
2 loots. There we go.
Two loots.
So 2015 showed us that the games, there don't need to be that many games. They just need to be high quality Witcher 3 and Blood-Borne meaty cook games.
Yeah, I mean, you're never expecting that much from the beginning of a year.
Yeah, I mean,
which is what makes the next year, Al.
I mean, 2016, I think, in my opinion, has to be probably the best year, just purely because
first half of the year.
I bought first half of the year because I bought 3 of the games. That
says a lot.
That's going to rate it fairly highly. I mean, there's a fair bit in there, and it crosses quite a lot of.
Why don't you talk us through the ones that you played?
So it was Overwatch, Stardew Valley, and XCOM 2. So those are the 3 that I bought. So not the biggest of the first half of the year of 2016.
I'll tell you what, I like Overwatch probably. The biggest game on there. Overwatch is still going. You know, it's got a whole esports scene.
Yeah, Overwatch came out and kicked some serious butt.
But yeah, what in the butt?
Yeah,
exactly.
I got into it quite heavily when it came out, and I did really enjoy it. I thought it was a fantastic game, a good sort of class-based system, a new style. I kind of like that half cartoony, half serious style, and it was a nice.
I don't know if it's a fair comparison, but I prefer Siege. Is that a fair comparison?
I don't think so.
No,
actually.
I don't think
because
so.
Overwatch is more akin to Team Fortress and Team Fortress 2 in that style.
Do you think? Yeah, I don't know. I think I always get that idea of kind of like the MOBA expansion in the sense of like you're playing as a hero, and that's what I mean in terms of the link between Siege.
I can see that, and I think Siege is
like
probably,
the MOBA aspect of it is more. I was referring to.
If you ask me which shooter I'd rather play, it would be Siege.
Yeah, 100%.
But Overwatch is just the nature. I mean, because it's straight up team deathmatch. I think it's it's got that difference to it. But
Paddy,
you're definitely right in terms of the hero aspect.
In 2016, there was a Naughty Dog.
There was a Naughty Dog Uncharted.
There was a very Naughty Dog,
which is just special. It's a special game.
I tell you what, we've had a lot of chats about Naughty Dog, and I have to admit, I've never heard you speak very much about Uncharted 4.
Tweeted.
Really, I guess The Last of Us gets all the oxygen, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's the one that I know. I know, like you got the sequel for the second one on the way out, and obviously, I think the first one had a really impact on you. But I don't hear you talk too much about that. I know you talked about Nathan Drake a lot, but sort of maybe 1 to 3. But I didn't specifically Nathan Drake all the time. Jesus, I'm sick of hearing about him.
I just love Nolan North.
But yeah,
I bet he smells
Uncharted
delicious.
4.
Uncharted 4 it is the perfect way to end something. You know, like we obviously, a lot of series come to an end, and like especially TV shows, like and it more often than not, it's crap. Like we saw with Game of Thrones, right? Like they didn't know what to. It felt like they didn't know what to do, so they rushed everything. But Uncharted 4 is really, because it strips away a lot of what you'd think from the action game. There's actually a lot less shooting than a lot of the others. There's a lot of quiet moments, and it's like these are the characters that you've been with for 3 and now 4 games, and we want to make sure that that's what stands out, and we say goodbye to these characters in the right way, and they do. Like they do it really, really well, and they do that by making it's like a less actiony, quieter, more reserved experience, but it's all the better for it because it is really just a payoff for that. And Uncharted 4 is amazing. Like
you know what my favourite thing about Naughty Dog
absolutely adore
is?
it. Yeah.
is hearing you talk about a Naughty Dog. It just
it
gives me a little twinkle right in between my legs. Just a little twinkle.
I mean, I have to say that I obviously I haven't played Uncharted or any of the series, but Uncharted 4 was the only one of the series that I watched an entire playthrough of, and I love watching it. So I imagine it was just as fun to play. I
am very proud of you.
Thank you. Rob, we've heard Paddy talk endlessly about his love, so why don't we just go for 2 years in a row? Witcher 3, they did something else in 2016. Early part?
They brought out the Blood and Wine expansion. I mean, we put that on there. Blood and Wine it come out. Yeah, I mean, it was a really, really good expansion. The only thing, the reason why I put it on here actually is because I think there's something to be said about the DLC for The Witcher, and a lot of people sort of, you know, I know a lot of people talk about all the microtransactions, all the monetization, and it used to be the conversation about DLC. Everyone used to sort of say, "Oh, DLC is really evil," but no, that's how DLC is done right. You pay a few quid and you get a whole new story in the game that is its own story and just as good as the main story, and it was brilliant. So yeah, The Witcher 3, any year's got a bit of Witcher 3, I'm always happy with it. I don't know about the other expansion, which was Hearts of Stone. I don't know if that was the same, like earlier on in the year. I don't know why that's not on there, but perhaps it was the back end of 2015, that's why not on there. But yeah, I think probably another one to pick up on there is Dark Souls 3. That was probably like the biggest of like the Dark Souls series.
Yeah, Dark Souls 3
things up a notch.
Dark Souls 3 was really good as well.
Yeah,
had a lot of fun with that. And actually, another one to pick up on is Inside, which starts a bit of a trend actually, which I think is definitely going to end in 2019, where the game of the year comes out in the first half of the year, because Inside was a lot of people's game of the year in 2016. I think it won the Game Award, whatever Jeff Keighley's thing, Game of the Year. I think it was IGN's as well.
We'll have to trust you.
Inside is really, really weird, but really good. Did you play it, Rob?
I did. I got a little bit freaked out, so I didn't end up finish it.
Yeah.
Classic Rob.
He said sheepishly.
It's an odd game. I couldn't really tell you what I remember from it.
Is odd.
It is. But yeah, it had some. I guess it had enough to it. It had that sort of journey quality, I think, where like an indie game comes along when people really resonate to people, and they don't forget about that when they reach.
I think I want to ask Alistair about his farming.
Oh, Stardew Valley, that's me.
Yeah,
that's something I can talk about.
In a Cornish accent,
do us a bit of Stardew.
Oh, you're right, my lovers. Okay, that's enough of that.
No, stop.
That's it. I didn't actually pick it up in 2016, but I think it was 20.
Surprise!
I got it. I got it this year. I think.
Yeah, I think it was 2017 and 2018, so it wasn't too far afterwards. But it brought a new element to the whole sandbox kind of farming type game, which I absolutely adore. I'm gonna let that be said. And it's just it takes away your hours so quickly, so easily. Just endless hours of fun and farming.
So it is a thumbs up from the Alistair.
It
in
is.
terms of Stardew Valley. No, it's cool. So I think looking at trying to think about what was disappointing in first half of 2016, the only major disappointment I can think about is Mighty Number 9, which is kind of supposed to be the spiritual successor to I like the Mega Man, the original Mega Man specifically. Probably more I like Mega Man X than the original OG Mega Man, but yeah, everyone was super excited. Had the original creator on board, and it was kickstarted, and it took a few years to come out, and people had some concerns about a trailer that came out, which was kind of really weird, and had this weird little bit where someone was talking about dressing like an anime person or something. It was weird, but yeah, the game came out and everyone hated it, and it was kind of one of the first real scares when it comes to crowdfunded kind of stuff. One of those ones where crowdfunding doesn't always turn out to be something good. Sometimes
yeah, it was something
it's not so good.
People really looked into, but didn't really happen.
That's the only game I could find first half 2016 where I sit there and go, wasn't it? Because there are plenty of this is something we've got to say. There's plenty of bad games. We're not saying there's no bad games in the first half of 2016. You can trawl the bottom of the barrel through Steam, but we try and pick out the ones that are really kind of heart-wrenchingly disappointing.
Promising, yeah.
Yeah, coming promising and then just didn't deliver. But yeah, Mighty Number 9, 2016, gonna give it 5 loots out of 5.
Oh.
I concur.
So 2 5s.
Oh, double 5-age.
I mean, at least that backs up my theory that if I buy games, it's an absolutely fantastic first half of the year. So we'll move on to 2017, which completely reduces my entire theory because I bought none of the games, even though it was a pretty fantastic start to the year. But it did have a bit of a mixed bag. Rob, when you take us through some of the mixing of the bags.
Breath of the Wild. Come on.
Which
Breath
part
Wild.
of the bag was that in? The good side or the bad side?
That was definitely on the good side. I mean, obviously, we've talked about Breath of the Wild quite a lot of times on the channel, and I have the things I don't like about Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and I think that's specifically around the fact that I quite egregiously don't feel like I've played on a Legend of Zelda game because I really miss doing the big temples and stuff. But that's a different conversation. But no one can. I mean, I think obviously people can because obviously it's up to them. But I think it's really hard to turn around and say that is like a bad game. It's a fantastic game and almost a near perfect game and sort of a brand new way to experience an open world that we hadn't quite seen done before, which is that kind of absolute freedom to explore and go wherever the hell that you want and find new things. And yeah, a bravo. I think everyone can hand on the heart say bravo because it was really well done.
Yeah, I think everyone kind of agrees on Legend of Zelda, even though it was a different style of things.
Lols.
It was done really well. I mean, a couple more at the top of the barrel were Persona 5. I don't know if either of you two touched upon that.
I've heard really good things about it, but I have to admit, I'm not a massive Persona fan, so I don't really have anything to add to it.
Paddy, you much into the Personas?
No.
Yeah,
Persona.
We've literally just gone on that purely by reputation and how big it is and how much of a fan base it has got.
Rep,
yeah.
bro.
And obviously Mario.
Paddy's got one on there though.
Oh, I'm getting to it. Don't worry, Rob. Mario Kart 8 was another big one. Sort of Mario Kart's typical.
Kart Deluxe, which was the re-release on Switch.
Yeah,
Just
Paddy,
picking you up.
Now, you fought hard for this game to be the game of the year, but it missed out. So talk us through Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, so before
He campaign so
I
vigorously.
did. I was outside number 10.
He wrote to the committee many times.
Before I talk about Horizon, I just want to say that Inside was the runner-up on a few of the game of the years, and it was actually Overwatch. So still from the first half of the year, but
it still counts.
But I just want to clarify that for no one who's watching. So yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn was awesome. Like, it was a really, really modern, cool take on an open world from a studio that doesn't really do that kind of thing.
She was ginger.
She were ginger, well ginger. And I think if it hadn't come out in a year with the Zelda, I think it probably would have been up there with the Game of the Year discussions. I think Breath of the Wild sort of took everything, and that's sort of fair enough. Although I've been thinking about trying to play Breath of the Wild again, and then I just remember I hated everything about how the weapons broke every 3 seconds. So that's the one. That's the one thing that I don't think I can ever play that game again because
as much as people try to defend it, you can't ignore it. It's just
shit. That was just terrible mechanic.
I mean, they can defend it for a little bit.
Use all the weapons.
No, it's just a terrible mechanic. But Horizon was great. Like, Horizon was.
You're a terrible.
Surprise mechanic! No, Horizon was lots and lots of fun, cool story, and I can't wait to see what they do next with that.
So yeah, and the other two that kind of went through, Injustice 2 and Nier Automata. Either of you two touched upon that?
I played Nier
Automata is said.
But
Tomato.
I played Nier a bit, and it seems fun, but I'm not. I sort of started it and then stopped. But I had people liked that game a lot, so.
I think 2017 will go down as the year of the disappointments because there were quite a few big games that came out in the first half of the year that really just failed to live up to the hype that they produced. And we'll hit the first one with Mass Effect Andromeda. Who wants to jump in
that was
there?
the music. I played Mass Effect and Andromeda. It was really weird when I played Mass Effect and Andromeda because 2017 was the first year I played any of the Mass Effect games, and I don't know if you guys remember because that's when we first met, guys, in 2017. And at the time, I played through Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 for the first time ever. Did them back to back, and literally just as I finished the third one, Mass Effect Andromeda come out. So it was really weird for me because I was literally just played them all three at the first. For the first time, and it was all fresh in my head when I went straight into Andromeda, so I didn't have that sort of a wait in between. I just went straight into it, and I didn't.
Is it secretly
get to
your
the end
favorite
of it.
Mass Effect?
No, I didn't get to the end of it. But the first time I played it through, and I got a decent chunk through it, and certain parts of it I enjoyed. Most of the parts that I loved about the original series weren't there, so I kind of got bored and I drifted off. But earlier on this year, I did go back to it, weird enough, which was a really weird thing. I never thought I would, but I did, and I've actually played all the way through it, and I don't hate it as much as I did then. But I still don't think it's a good game.
And then there was also obviously For Honor, another big one that came out. That
For Honor's not bad though,
it's a
is
balance.
it?
It's a weird one in the middle of sort of it was all right, but it failed on some
It still
points.
is all right.
Yeah, it's coming back a bit. It's just I think it. Yeah, it's one of those where it's not massively disappointing, but I think everyone thought it could have been better.
Yeah, you see that. You see the potential, in what is, I don't suppose so much is much of a conversation anymore. But the conversation a few years ago about how we talk about like the saturation of the same game type. First-person shooter again, multiplayer first-person shooter.
Yeah, it was something new and fresh.
That was a conversation happened a few years ago, and. Just to see something which was an online PvP where you could do sort of your deathmatch, your team deathmatch and all that kind of thing, but to move away from, shooting a guy from the other side of the corridor, I didn't see him, he's behind me, that kind of stuff, and actually going something, let's see if we can come up with a online skill-based melee system and, try and mix it up a bit, and I really appreciated that they tried. You know what I mean? It's go on. Why not?
We did play it not that long ago. I mean, within the last year.
Did we?
I think we streamed it a bit.
Prove it.
It's really not that hard, Rob.
Prove it.
But yeah, it was actually quite entertaining. So I mean, For Honor's a weird one, but
it's hard to say it's a bad game. But again, it's sort of like. For what it could be, go on. Why couldn't you just been like? I'm playing Immortal at the minute on PC, and I hope they release it on consoles one day because I'm having a blast. That's kind of what I wanted it to be. If you guys haven't played it, I think you should. But I think I've already said that twice.
I think, Paddy, we can agree that this game there wasn't a real debate. It straight up disappointed, and that was Yooka-Laylee coming in to try and replace the old Banjo-Kazooie.
I don't want to talk about it, Al.
It's still too raw.
It was just boring, and it's not that sort of game doesn't hold up anymore because I've been playing Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie on the because they're both on Game Pass, but
those games are old.
Yeah, but they're still great.
Still
Yooka-Laylee was just boring.
Okay,
and that hurt my heart a bit.
And it was because it had so much build up. I think that's what the thing around it because they were like.
Why was it boring? What did it do differently that Banjo-Kazooie didn't?
You know what? It just didn't do. I don't know. I think it felt a little bit sort of bigger and I think worse off for it. I think the fact that the worlds were sort of small and tight in Banjo gave everything a little bit more personality. This was sort of wider and bigger and just for the sake of it, I think, and nothing had quite the same amount of. It didn't feel like it had the same amount of detail and sort of.
Can I confess something?
Into it? What?
Ooh.
3D platformers bore the fucking shit out of me.
I mean, it's not really a confession. A lot of people will probably agree with you.
No, there you go. Just thought I'd throw out.
Yeah, I think maybe it was just a product of kind of a product of the time that Banjo-Kazooie was rated so highly, but Yooka-Laylee doesn't live up to when we have the caliber of games we have now. But we'll keep it going. Try not to make this too long. Rob, what do you think of the loot year?
I'm gonna give it a 4 loots out of 5 because you got Breath of the Wild on there. You got Horizon Zero Dawn. That's a pretty good start of the year.
Paddy?
Same.
Same. We've been concurring for a while, Paddy.
Time to disagree.
I like your strategy.
I mean, I don't think you're going to disagree with 2018 because there were just a lot of fantastic games I feel that came out. I didn't play any of them, but once again, I can say because most of them came out on PlayStation 2 / I wasn't interested in playing them at the time. And we'll start off with the biggest one, definitely of the year, God of War.
God of War.
I think Paddy, you've never shut up about that game since its release, so I think you can start off with this one.
I think Rob's probably played it more than I have. God of War is amazing. That's all I gotta say.
Cheers. I agree.
Game of the year.
It's
bang, smash.
That
Coribalo.
Nothing will come close to that. The first a boss fight where the main dude turns up and it's just a guy who turns up at your door and you're like, you're quite like okay, and now I'm being thrown over a building. Okay, this is amazing. That was my transformation, and then I didn't put the game down. And I neglected my child.
I don't think anything compares to the feeling of throwing and catching the axe. Just,
I think Sinead O'Connor wrote a song about it in the 80s. She wrote a song just for the
axe.
Yeah, the axe was just fucking pain.
Apparently not much more needs to be said about God of War.
No, I could talk about it for another 20 minutes.
Yeah, but I'm not going to let you. Just straight up, not going to let you. Then Shadow of the Colossus. Either of you two touched
Yeah.
upon that?
I'm a fan.
You're a fan?
Paddy, sort of, but not really.
I started
Is that
playing
right?
it and then didn't ever play it.
Why did you not? Did you just get a bit bored, or did you find it a bit
Well,
hard?
what it
because
was
you
I
didn't
was
play the original.
I was trying to like play it for something for the channel, and then rather than just trying to play it to enjoy it, and then that sort of got in the way, and then I never went back to it.
I loved it. It's basically, you don't really fight really sort of small grunts or anything. You literally, the whole game's compact with about, I think it's about 6 or 7 big ass like bosses that you got to climb up and beat, and yeah,
That's what Rob
it's
looks
fantastic.
for in his bosses, the big ass.
And how they achieved it on the PS2 is just absolutely spectacular. But obviously, it was a re-release HD they did in 2018, and I didn't play the re-release, but I did play on the original, and the original was great.
Alright, we'll keep skipping through these. Monster Hunter World, either of you two touched upon that much?
I played it this year. I've tried to get into it, but a little bit.
Yeah,
But
nay. Do you?
yeah.
Should it be up there? Yeah. Paddy, any thoughts on Monster Hunter World, or haven't you already touched?
No.
No.
you get to make your own cat.
Oh, I'm
That
sorry.
is
There you go.
pretty cool though.
Yeah,
And then-
it's really in depth.
What?
And I
No.
got into it too
A
much.
few other decent ones. Hollow Knight. That I
Oh
don't
no,
think.
it's good. It's hard.
Yeah.
A roguelike.
Very roguelike. I know. Scouse Mouse, our old friend on that channel. He's played a bit of Hollow Knight.
He who shall not be named.
Celeste. I've heard many good things about Celeste. I've actually downloaded.
Celeste is real good.
I've downloaded it.
Y'all should play. You should definitely play it. It is.
Intend to play it at some point.
It is really
It's
good.
about a mental health.
Well, yeah, I mean, like it is, but it's also just an awesome platformer. Just almost perfect. I think in the way it plays, it's really good.
Apparently very difficult at times.
Well, I beat it, so it can't be that hard.
For what a flex.
Mr. Swagger.
No, it-
Well, I beat it.
It can't be that difficult because I'm not good at games. So
I'm
if
sure
I
it'd
can
beat
do
you
it-
back.
And Rob, to be fair, Dragon Ball Fighter Z. That's one right up you.
Yeah, man, it went right up me. It did. It was good. I thought it was very good. I've not got into a fighting game for years, and I wouldn't say I've really got into it because it's one of those ones I pick up and I play it for about 3 days really intensely, trying to get really good at it, and I get slightly good at it, and then I get bored and play something else, and then I load it up again in about 4 months, and I'm shit at it, and then I spend 3 days getting really good, and that is the cycle I play. But the fact it's able to do that speaks a lot because I haven't played a fighting game in a very long time. So yeah,
I mean,
it's got my thumbs up my bum.
Yeah, so it's one of the few fighting games that actually holds quite a high spot in the first half of the year. And Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice.
Another game about bloody mental health. Jesus Christ, 2018. Do you want to ram this down my throat a little bit more?
Well, I think the overload is
Rob
good
liked the
parents.
game, everybody.
Yeah, it was good fun. It was a very good game actually, and it's really good to see the AA games sort of performing well as well. You know that there's a mid-range price games. You know that it's not like your shitty little one guy making a bloody artsy fartsy bloody twatty game that you buy for 10 quid, and you know it makes you reflect on like your life whilst watching a guy who's staring at a bowl of cereal. But like, it's nice to have that sort of, you know, that you still get a little bit of a polish and you still feel like you're buying something that's a bit more of a sort of fleshed out experience, but you're not having to spend up to £60 on it.
Yeah, I'm aware we're dragging on a little bit, so we'll try and whip out the two disappointing in 2018, which revolved around Metal Gear Survive and State of Decay 2. Any big thoughts on those two from you two?
Disappointing. I mean, a Metal Gear is not going to work if you don't have a Kojima. That's just how it is. The fact they tried is just ridiculous, and the fact it fell flat on its face is just, you know, who didn't see that coming? It was like a Fallout 76. It's like, well, of course it's not going to work. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's a game they are going to try and forget about. And State of Decay 2, I don't know. I don't even know if this should be on this list because it's not a bad. It's, you know, it's a decent a 7 out of 10. Yeah, it's a decent 7 out of 10 game as well. You know, it's not exciting, but it wasn't disappointing. I don't think it had a very huge kind of like hype behind it. I know there's some people who are like, I really enjoyed the first one and I was quite excited by the multiplayer aspect of the second one, but it just didn't seem to move much further. The main complaint I think was it didn't seem to move much further from the first one, even with the co-op added into it. But it was, you know, it's a nice tight game, but you know, the zombie genre maybe been flogged like the dead horse it is since the year 2008, and I get it. And yeah, horses.
Paddy, anything to add to those two disappointing games?
Horses. There we go.
Thank you. And it's taken us 30 minutes, but we're gonna...
3 loots out of 5.
All right. Sorry. Rob's 3.
I
Paddy,
concur.
what's your score? Again. Right, it's taken us about half an hour, but we've finally gotten to why 2019 has been quite a disappointing first half of the year.
It's been crap.
Yeah.
The end.
I mean, it's got the releases that we've noted of kind of the top Metacritic scores. They've been up there. They've been consistent with each of the other previous years. So why have we felt it's not made its mark like the rest of them?
It might even just be our personal own.
Because I mean,
gaming taste. It might just be the fact because
Resident Evil 2's come out. Sekiro Shadow Dice twice.
Yeah, but no one likes them.
I mean, obviously people do that.
I mean, like, I know a lot of people are really excited about like Resi 2. I know Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. People love that, especially as it's another Blood-Borne game and everyone's really into it. But outside of that, you got like Tetris Effect come out, Devil May Cry 5, Apex Legends.
I mean, I guess.
And I suppose the only one that excites me on that list is Super Mario Maker 2, which I had the original Super Mario. I mean, not really, but the original Super Mario Maker, I had that on the Wii U, and I really, really enjoyed it. And the reason why I don't have it is not because I don't want it; it's just because I'm trying to choose the games that I'm buying at the moment. But
I mean, the stories of this year so far are Resi 2 and Apex, like for sure. But and they are both going to be, I think, completely forgotten when we start talking about Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Or, just when you look at what's coming up, like there is. I mean, okay, Resi 2 is good, but it is a remake of an old game at this point, and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, I'm sure, is incredible, but like I don't know, apparently it was even more difficult or a different sort of difficulty than the other ones, and I struggle enough with those as well, so I just couldn't motivate myself to get it. And I have played a lot of Apex, but it is a free to play battle royale, so. Yeah. It doesn't like as much as it's a fun game. I don't think it's something that I'm like, wow, what an absolute great first.
Yeah, I think what it is, I can go back each of those years and go and pick up one game and go, fucking wow, that was what an experience. 2018 God of War, 2017 Breath of the Wild, 2016 Uncharted 4 or Overwatch. The year before Witcher 3. Every year I can pick out a big game, but you look at that this year and you go. Yeah.
Was it also emphasised by the disappointing games being the two ones that had the most promise, Anthem and Days Gone?
Yeah,
would that emphasise how
the first like Sony first party? Well, the thing is, it's not a flop because Days Gone has sold incredibly well, but critically, probably the first one since The Order, which was kind of.
It looked like it had a lot of promise as well. I think that's everything that way. So you look at the other one. The only other one is that we talked about today is the Order 1886. But even when you look at that, you never went, "Oh my god, the Order 1886." But I remember seeing the first trailer from A Day's Gone and going, "Fucking hell!" But I always remember thinking to myself, "I like it, but I wouldn't buy it because I have a stroke." That's what I remember thinking to myself because the whole thing of like the whole horde chasing you. It's like, I was just like, oh, I don't know if I'd be able to cope with that. But
and then Anthem.
Yeah, I was like Anthem is just one of those ones where BioWare need to really think about what sort of games they want to make, and also I don't know how much pressure they had put on them for EA to make this sort of game. I imagine quite a lot. And you know what? I didn't hate it though. I didn't hate Anthem because we played a couple of sessions. It was quite fun as a 4, but
it's
like
pretty repetitive.
We didn't pay full price for it.
Yeah.
We just kind of snuckily got it for the 10 hours trial on EA Access, and then we cancelled it and never bothered because we probably got everything that we wanted out of like the 1 or 2 days that we played on it.
Yeah, and I think what makes the first half of this year stand out so much more than the rest is
I think it's
our hopes kind of were rested on Days Gone and Anthem being the games we played until like the main releases in around sort of September, November times. That's like obviously when most of the big titles get released each year.
But I think Paddy was saying it himself. Like the next 12 months look incredible.
Yeah.
And even the back end of this year. I mean, I'm thinking now I can easily pick out 2 games that easily. I've got for my own personal sake Shenmue 3, that's a game I've been waiting so long for, that even if it's absolute turd, I'll probably sit there and go, oh my god, it's amazing. And you've got a Pokemon Sword and Shield, which I haven't been excited about a Pokemon game since Gold and Silver. I know, right? And I'm sure there's plenty more that I think of from the top of my head. And then you even start thinking about what's going to be coming out the first half of next year. So when we do start talking about first half of years again, you still got Cyberpunk 2077 to come out first half of next year, so which I think is going to be a big release. You've got Watch Dogs Legion, which I think looks really, really, really interesting. I'm really keen on seeing how that comes out, considering how good Watch Dogs 2 was as well. So yeah, it's like, I think the reason why it's been really kind of weird for us, because the past half of the year I just genuinely don't feel like I've bought really anything. And not that I'm whinging, because a new games are fucking expensive, and if I'm not buying them, I'm probably saving quite a lot of money and spending it on my children. But yeah, it still makes me sad because I've not had anything I've been excited about since probably Red Dead 2.
Buddy, you agree, or you got much to add to all that?
No, I'm really looking forward to the rest of this year. Call of Duty Modern Warfare looks awesome. I think The Outer Worlds, brand new RPG, looks really, really cool. I think
is it The Outer Wilds or The Outer Worlds?
The Outer Worlds. The Outer Worlds is actually
there's a game
The Outer Worlds is actually
already come out.
A very good
it?
game from this year that maybe could have. I don't know.
Been talked about.
I don't know if that came out in the first 6 months or the next one, but a lot of people have been talking about that. Jedi Star Wars Fallen Order,
I'm very meh about
Death
that.
Stranding, which, I mean, the end of this year looks awesome. It's just so far, I can't think of a first half of the year where I've just not been enthused by anything new. I've been playing Assassin's Creed 2 and Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
Yeah, so
that's like I wanted to play something, and that's all I could think of because I have the Ezio collection.
I've replayed all of the Yakuza games again.
Well, we'll get to wrapping this up with what would you score this year, Paddy?
I'm gonna give it one loot.
One loot, Rob.
I concur.
We would have seen that, another concurring
Consensus.
And just a final question to you both. Do you think this year has been so disappointing because of the failure of the two big games that came out, because it's coming near the end of the generation, so that they're waiting for the new generation to put in their bigger, more maybe grabbing games, or just because it's just one of those years where nothing great has come out?
I think it's a timing thing in a sense. Studios are working on stuff, and we're coming towards the end of a generation, which there are some games that maybe are getting held over for the next one, or we know studios are working on things, but they're going to wait for the next console generation. But I think a lot of it is that the major publishers are all kind of shitting out these games as a service, so they're focusing on a single game that they're going to support for years and years and years, rather than maybe when that you get a few games from EA or an Activision every year. You're now just kind of getting one, and
so this might be a sign of things to come.
And it's meant to just live forever, right? And so
I mean, like we say that, but we just brought up the example of next year. That next year looks pretty good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so strange, isn't it? It's so strange to say why specifically 2019.
But we could say that we could have said 2019 is looking really good next year because look what's coming out, and then Days Gone and Anthem fell flat. So I think we'll have to wait for judgment for next year.
I'm a lot more confident about the games that are coming out early next year than I would have been about the games that are coming out early this year. I mean, I was moderately excited about Days Gone, and Anthem I was more than curious about. You know what I mean? Whereas I think Cyberpunk 2077 and Watch Dogs Legion, I'm a lot more bought into them. Even like at this point. But
we might also be getting Last of Us Part 2 as well. So first half of next year could be really, really special.
Could be like the 6 out of 5 loot sort of year.
Ooh, damn.
So,
damn, we need an extra loot, sir.
I guess there's a lot to.
Yeehaw.
I'll bring the loots.
I'll try to find an extra one. It's really hard in this economy.
Ding, 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 ding,
But,
ding. I don't think that's a loot, is it?
That's a banjo.
Does anyone know the difference, really?
Yes, quite clearly. One's like a mini harp, the other is a banjo.
I think the thing that's really good about this is I was obviously trying to wrap it up, and I'm just dragging it out.
Yeah. Yeah, totally found. So, this has been Paddy and Rob's opinions on kind of going through the years, picking out what the first half of the past years, and picking out what games made the first half of the year stand out, and what disappointed, and why 2019 just hasn't lived up to that hype. Obviously, everyone's opinions differ, so if you've got something that differs, your favourite games from the first half of the year, put them down in the comments, what disappointed you the most, or why you think 2019 just hasn't lived up to the previous years. Well, thanks both of you for talking about games for forever. It's been an absolute pleasure to listen to people speak about games.
Well controlled, old bean.
When I haven't played any. But if you want to check out more, then do check us out at youtube.com/twistedbargaming. You'll find a lot more short form videos there. Or if you want to watch our streams and actually watch me play some games, then go on to Twisted.
Because we're not doing it.
That's the only where I do it. YouTube, Twisted Bard Play, TBG Plays. That's the one. That's the ticket. And yeah, you'll find a lot of our streams there.
All the links are in the description, aren't they, Al?
They are indeed. Yeah, editing. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I think we've learned a lot about the first half of the years, and yeah, I think we'll leave it there.
Thanks for watching this short, approachable video. Bye.
Bye.
Shabba.
Shug it.